Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you as is usual. For this one we're going to return to Aberdeenshire and we're continuing on with the series of Scottish beer reviews. So this is video number 10 in the Scottish Beer Month that I've been doing for you. So for this one, as I say, we're going to return to Aberdeenshire, to the small village of Banchory, and once again we're going to do a review from the Deeside Brewery. This time we're going to have a taste of Talorcan, which is a chocolate stout. So it should be very interesting. There are other beers that I've reviewed for you before are quite interesting, so the link to those reviews is in the video description for you below, so check them out if you are interested in that. The brewery website's also down there in the video description, but for now I'll take you through a brief history of the brewery. If you don't want to stick with me for that, just fast forward a few minutes into the video and you will get right to the tasting. So anyway, this is, as you would probably guess, this is yet another of the many new Scottish microbreweries that have popped up in the last few years. This brewery was originally founded in 2005 as the Hillside Brewery in Lumphin in Aberdeenshire by the late Rob James. Now he moved the brewery to a larger premises in 2008 which was equipped with a 10-barrel plant, and at this point he renamed the brewery Deeside Brewery, which it retains to this day. Now Rob closed the brewery in 2011 and then it was bought over by Mike, who also owns Dusk Cocktail Bar in Aberdeen. A very, very nice bar actually, quite swanky, so if you fancy a nice night out in Aberdeen with some really good drinks, you should go there and check it out. But in 2012 they employed their current head brewer Dan Griffiths, who is a student at the famous Heriot Watt University brewing programme, and apparently they also hired talented sommelier Neil Sturton, who acts as the brewery brand ambassador and also as the sales manager of the brewery as well. But very recently they've moved into their new premises in Banchory, which is to the southwest of the city of Aberdeen, and the address for this place is the Stedding Lochton of Lays, Banchory. But with this move they've also increased their capacity by purchasing 5 new 1500 litre fermenter conditioning tanks, so there will be quite a bit of growth coming out of this beer in the very near future. And they've also expanded their range of beers quite a bit over the last little while. In addition to the 3 original ones, which was the Laugh, the Macbeth, and also this guy here, the Talorcan, there are a few others, one of which is Swift, and there's a few various other ones that they are releasing at the moment. So, just to list the beers that you can actually get from this brewery, as I say, there's this guy, the Talorcan, which is the stout, Laugh, which is a Californian steam beer, Swift, which is an American pale ale, and also the Macbeth, which is a nice bitter beer. Those are the main bottled ones. They also have a lager beer as well, which I'm not sure if it's been bottled yet, but I tried it on tap in Dusk when I went to pick up the beers from them, and it was a very, very nice one, so hopefully they get that bottled and it comes out as well as it did on tap. But anyway, that's your sort of brief history of the Deeside Brewery, a very, very nice Scottish craft brewery or microbrewery up in Aberdeenshire, kind of a little alternative if you like from Brewdog. Very, very nice brewery. So I'll bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork again on this one. It's quite simple but very, very nicely presented. I think you can see there, you've got there's the Deeside symbol there, you can see it with the nice crown, and this is the kind of main bottle label. It's very simple but I think very, very well done, and it just says at the bottom 4.5% handcrafted in Royal Deeside. It does say a little bit at the back on about the style of the beer. It says this velvety smooth milk stout, thick and creamy, full of rich deep chocolatey flavours, and it says the history. Porters originated in London in the 1720s, becoming popular as a beer that didn't spoil with heat and improved with age. Strong in flavour and alcohol, they gained the term stout porter or stout. In the 1820s black malt was invented and used to give the now synonymous dark colour. So a nice little bit of history on the background there. Just a few other things about the beer. It tells you about the ingredients. Malted barley, hops and yeast. This product contains lactose, so obviously for people that are lactards they need to watch out with this one. But let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting here. So a 4.5% stout from Banchory in Aberdeen. So we'll just, a little smoky opening there. We'll just get this guy out and into the glass. Just need to watch on the head that it doesn't go too crazy. I'll leave a little bit of it out just now and we'll just have a quick look at the colour and the aroma, so I don't sniff it up as I did in the last beer review, which it's actually been a bit of a problem for me recently. I keep sniffing beer, so at least it's not glue or something like that, you know. But here you are. I can just bring up the camera there. You can see there's a nice solid, almost 2 finger of a nice tan beigey coloured head on this one. It is pretty much pitch black. I would describe that as a kind of ebony or rosewood colour actually. If I hold it up to the light, it has a very, very slight tint of red as you look around the edges, but mainly a kind of quite black beer and definitely a rosewood kind of chestnutty colour for this one. So in terms of the aroma, mainly a sort of roasted coffee malt that's coming out on this one. You can smell the sort of milky character to the chocolate as well. It has that kind of nice sweet milky chocolate character in the background. But there is definitely an element of kind of caramel or dark treacle or something in there as well. A roasted kind of brown sugar element that's in this beer as well. But it smells quite nice, mainly a coffee, a definite coffee thing, but if you breathe it in a little bit more deeply, you start to get the caramel coming out and also the kind of milky chocolate aroma too. There's perhaps a little bit of a kind of woody aroma to this one, a little bit of nutty kind of vanilla-y character coming out too, but it seems very, very nice. So let's get the rest of this guy out and then we'll get on with the tasting itself. Poured that quite nicely, even if I do say so myself, so we'll just line this back up there and we'll get on with the tasting then. So this is the kind of full deal. You've got a finger of a frothy white head. It would have been more if I poured it all in a oneer, sorry, but it looks very, very nice. So this is my third beer review, I think it is, from the Deeside Brewery, so go and check them out. Brewery website's in the description for you below. As I say, some very nice beers coming from these guys. So this is my first dark beer from these guys, so let's give it a taste. Yeah, much like the aroma kind of suggests, a big sort of roasted coffee malt in there. The thing with it being a stout as well that's quite surprising is just how light the body is. That's the other first impression I'm getting of this one. Definitely a sort of mid-bodied stout. The roasted character makes it seem a little bit fuller, and it's not quite light-bodied, but it is a lot lighter than you would expect. But going into the aftertaste as well, there's a nice lingering roasted coffee element to this one, a sort of really roasted black malt flavour coming out here. Very nice. But later on, as the flavour kind of develops a bit, you're getting a nice sort of sweet milk chocolate element coming out on the bottom of the tongue there. There's just a nice little bit of caramel mixed in with that, but it is very faint. It's mainly the milk chocolate that's coming out and the roasted bitter coffee in there. There is perhaps a little bit of a kind of vanilla flavour to it as well, but very, very faint, and maybe nuts as well. But it is the real prominent component in this beer, definitely is the coffee element, followed quite closely by the sort of milk chocolatey element of the beer. Yeah, as you take the beer in, it comes in very smoothly. Then just at the back sides of the tongue, you start to get a little bite of bitter kind of coffee, which is very, very interesting. The coffee malt on this one, what's really interesting about it is that it just spreads towards the front of the tongue, and then that's when the kind of velvety kind of chocolatey character appeals in this one. The nice milk chocolate character starts to appear as you get this little flow forward of the bitter character, and it's almost as if it leaves behind it just this little bit of of the milk chocolate. There is a tiny little bit of caramel sweetness involved in this beer, but as I say, very faint. It is really a roasted coffee element that leaves this nice kind of coffee bean roasted flavour around the mouth, and then you've got this nice kind of sweet malt, this sweet milk chocolate aroma or taste rather, that sits on the tongue there. There's not even an element of fruitiness to this. It's a very creamy, very milky stout, this one. Very, very nice beer. I mean, stouts and porters, that's the kind of main difference I think between them. The stout tends to be just a little bit heavier and more creamy, and this one definitely does fit into that. The back of the bottle seems to refer to it as being a porter, but definitely, this one definitely goes into the stout. It's that creamy mouthfeel and the kind of lack of a little bit of fruity character that gives it away. I mean, you could perhaps say there is a tiny little bit of a kind of red berryish fruit to it, but it's not sharp at all. It would be very, very mild if it does exist, but it's definitely it is definitely a nice smooth milky flavour in this one that just kind of blankets the tongue. Around the edge you get a little bit of this coffee roasted bitterness, and towards the back as well you're getting that coming out too. So very, very nice stout actually. Very well. It's very well rated on ratebeer.com, so I can see why. It's got a very nice kind of quite round flavour. It's not pungent. It's not so pungent in terms of the coffee. It's just nice and subtle, and the milk chocolate character and the caramel just blend together very well. And I really do think there is a little element of vanilla in this one. It's not spicy or anything like that, but just a nice kind of vanilla milky chocolate flavour that's coming out in this one. So it's very, very well done and very well balanced flavour in my opinion. From what I understand as well is that they changed the recipes of a lot of their beers at Deeside Brewery, so I'm not sure if this was one, but whatever recipe they are using for this one, they need to stick with it because it's very, very well balanced, and this is one of the beers I really would recommend to foreign people that they try if they're coming to visit Scotland. It's a really nice one. Stout, I have to admit that a stout beer isn't my favourite style, but this is a very, very nice beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this guy, as I said, it's a lot lighter than you would expect. It's kind of more mid-body, but it has a really nice sort of creamy mouthfeel to it. But it does have just a little nice balancing act from the kind of bitter coffee aroma that comes out. It's maybe a little bit... It's not even a really smoky kind of character or anything, but it's a really nice roasted, slightly bitter character that comes out, and it blends really well with the kind of creamy milkness that this beer has. So overall, this is a really, really nice stout beer from one of the very new craft breweries in Scotland, and I rate these guys really highly. I'll be interested to see them when they expand their range even further. It'd be really cool to see them do a red ale and a brown ale actually. That would be a really interesting step forward for them beyond the beers that they already have. But they're doing a very, very good job, and I'm sure those of you watching outside of Scotland will hear a little bit of this brewery in the coming future. I mean, they're hopefully they get a nice distribution network and stuff sorted up. So, but overall, very, very nice beer. I recommend you try this one. The Macbeth in particular, if you want to try one of their lighter beers, is also very good. I can speak for that one on experience. A really, really nice bitter beer that I would recommend you try. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer. If you're into your stout beers, check out this guy. I think it's very, very well blended, nicely rounded flavour. But I thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment below and let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you have tried it yourself. And please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you're enjoying this series of Scottish beer reviews when I'm away on my travels. And I will catch you soon in Australia when I arrive there with some Aussie beer reviews. Cheers.